The movie opens with Tara, a teenage girl, sitting alone at home and chatting with her friend Anbar. While talking, she receives a call from an unknown number. Initially unsure, she answers, thinking it might be a friend of her mother's. The caller, however, begins asking her about her favorite horror movie. After sharing her preferences, he reveals his own favorite, a film about a young girl alone at home who gets a call from a stranger. The stranger ultimately kills her. When he suddenly calls Tara by her name, she is shocked and ends the call in panic. She never told him her name. Frightened, she activates the house security system, locking all doors and calling Anbar to warn her that the caller is a psychopath. Suddenly, Tara receives a text from Anbar, telling her that if she doesn't answer, her friend will die. In terror, Tara races to help Anbar. The caller informs her that she must play a game with him to save her friend. He gives her 3 questions about a specific movie. If she answers incorrectly or calls the police, Anbar will be killed. Tara manages to answer the first 2 correctly but fails on the third. The caller threatens to kill Anbar, and just as Tara tries to stop him, she opens the door to find the masked killer standing there. In the ensuing struggle, the killer slashes her stomach, forcing Tara to retreat, locking herself inside. Desperate, Tara tries to secure the house, but the system keeps malfunctioning, opening the doors each time she locks them. Finally, she manages to close them all. The killer calls again, claiming that he had already entered the house before the doors closed. He emerges from behind her, attacking her. Despite Tara's attempts to defend herself, he breaks her legs and repeatedly stabs her. Meanwhile, Tara's older sister Sam is in another city with her boyfriend Rich. They are in the middle of a shower when Sam gets the call about Tara's condition. Sam rushes back, with Rich insisting on accompanying her. In the meantime, Tara's friend Wes talks to Anbar and others about the attack. He warns everyone to stay cautious of the killer, who is now targeting their circle of friends. Wes's mother, a famous policewoman, recognizes the pattern and recalls an eerily similar case from years ago, involving a masked killer. At the hospital, Sam meets up with Tara's friends. After greeting them, she goes to comfort Tara, who is overwhelmed with fear. Tara reveals how scared she is, and Sam reassures her that she will stay by her side. Meanwhile, Anbar expresses her frustrations about Sam abandoning Tara, blaming her for distancing herself after becoming independent. As they talk, a stranger approaches and irritates them. A quarrel ensues, but they are eventually kicked out by the manager. Afterward, Amber notices someone watching them, only for the masked killer to appear and kill the man. While Sam searches for food at the hospital, she imagines the killer standing in front of her. Suddenly, her phone rings. It's Amber's number, but the voice on the other end is that of the killer. He taunts her, revealing that he attacked Tara to force Sam to return. Enraged, Sam challenges him, but before she can act, the killer appears behind her and attempts to stab her. Sam manages to escape, running outside until she encounters an officer, but by then, the killer has disappeared. The policewoman arrives to investigate the situation, and Amber tries to explain what happened when the killer used her phone. Rich, who was absent during the attack, becomes involved in the investigation, with Amber and Rich both accusing each other of being the killer. In a private conversation, the policewoman warns Sam that her past actions have caused problems, advising her to leave town with Rich to avoid further trouble. Later, Sam reveals to the policewoman that she discovered a secret from her mother's diary. Her mother was pregnant by someone other than her father. This truth strained their relationship, leading to Sam's father abandoning them after overhearing the revelation. Amidst the escalating chaos, Sam discovers a shocking truth. Her real father is the infamous killer Billy Loomis. Upon learning this, she chooses to distance herself from her family and leaves the city, becoming independent. Tara, often confused and angry, sometimes believes her sister's claims, yelling at Sam to leave her room. When Sam exits, she finds Richie spying on them and accuses him of being afraid of her after discovering her father's identity. Richie reassures her, saying he doesn't care about her father, only that he loves her and will stand by her through everything. The following day, Sam and Richie visit retired police officer Dewey, who has survived multiple encounters with masked killers. Dewey, who once helped save Sydney from a similar killer, has narrowly escaped death numerous times. He has been stabbed 9 times over the years but remains determined to help. Sam and Richie ask Dewey to assist them in confronting the new killer, but Dewey gives a cryptic warning, no matter how close they may seem. He reveals that the killer is likely one of Tara's friends, as she was the first victim and was left alive, a key clue. However, after giving this advice, Dewey refuses to get further involved and orders them out of his house. Dewey, still worried about the situation, contacts Sydney, the sole survivor of the original murders. He warns her about the new killer in town and tells her to stay away from the city, ready for anything. As Dewey hangs up, he sends a message to Jill, his ex-girlfriend, with whom he shares a complex history. They broke up years ago, mostly due to Jill's obsession with fame and her career. Dewey advises her against returning to the city, but Jill, conflicted, considers it. After some contemplation, Dewey decides to help Sam and Tara. He meets with them and agrees to assist in solving the mystery and uncovering the killer's identity. The 3 of them then gather with Tara's friends to discuss their theories. During the meeting, Sam reveals a shocking truth. She is Billy Loomis's daughter and confronts the group with the possibility that the killer is among them. Mandy, Chad's sister, speculates that the killer is a fan of the movies, particularly the ones based on Billy Loomis and Sydney's past, and suggests that Sam, as Billy's daughter, is the most likely suspect. This revelation divides the group, with many of them turning against Sam, unable to separate her from her father's legacy. Sam, hurt by the accusations, leaves the room in frustration. Meanwhile, the policewoman, Waz, is at home when she receives a threatening call from the killer, warning her that he will kill her son, who is alone in the house. As she rushes home, she frantically tries to reach him, but when she arrives, the killer ambushes her and ends her life. Her son is also attacked and killed in the aftermath. Back in the hospital, Sam receives the grim news about the deaths of Wes and his mother. She calls Richie, sharing the horrifying details, and begins to piece together that her sister is in immediate danger. Sam, along with Dewey, rushes to the hospital, determined to protect Tara. Inside, Tara, still recovering, hears strange noises and wheels herself into the hallway, where she finds an officer's body and hears footsteps approaching. In a panic, she retreats to her room and finds Richie there. As Tara begins to calm down, the killer emerges from behind Richie, launching an attack. Tara, terrified, tries to flee but is pursued by the killer. Sam, who is on the phone with Richie, hears the killer's voice instead. She stalls for time, hoping to delay the inevitable until Dewey and Sam can arrive. When they do, Dewey shoots at the killer, wounding him, and rushes to help Richie while Sam goes to Tara. As Dewey tends to Richie, the killer attacks him, but Dewey fights back and manages to shoot him. He tells Sam and Richie to stay safe while he finishes the job. Dewey then finds the killer unconscious and draws his gun to deliver the final blow. However, just as he's about to pull the trigger, Jill calls, distracting Dewey long enough for the killer to regain consciousness and kill him. The following day, news of Dewey's death spreads like wildfire. Jill, devastated by Dewey's death, goes to see his body, unable to believe the loss. At the same time, Sydney, upon hearing the news, returns to the city to comfort Jill, both of them mourning Dewey's death. Sam, meanwhile, feels the weight of her actions and apologizes to Tara for leaving her behind. She confesses that she moved away to prevent herself from becoming a killer like her father. Tara, though scared, reassures her sister that she could never be a killer. Together, they make the decision to flee the country and escape the killer's reach. However, as they leave, Sydney and Jill stop them, asking for Sam's help in taking down the killer and avenging Dewey's death. Sam, though tempted, refuses, insisting that she must protect herself and her sister. As Sam, Tara, and Richie drive off, Sydney secretly places a tracker in their car, knowing that the killer will not stop until he has claimed Sam and Tara as his next victims. As Richie drives the car and they head out of the city, Tara suddenly remembers that she left her medication at Amber's house. Realizing she won't be able to complete the trip without it, Tara asks Richie to return to Amber's house to retrieve it. Meanwhile, Amber is hosting a party in honor of her deceased friends. She heads down to the basement to grab drinks and, in a philosophical mood, reflects on the eerie atmosphere. The music plays in the background, heightening the sense of dread. During this time, Chad has a heated argument with his girlfriend Liv. In the midst of the tension, Liv storms off. Chad, trying to smooth things over, sends her a message with a location, asking her to meet him. Chad goes to meet her, but when he arrives, he is startled to find the killer standing behind him. A confrontation ensues, where Chad is injured in the leg. Despite his best efforts to fight back and escape, the killer manages to track him down and kill him. Back at Amber's house, Richie returns with Tara to collect her medication. They walk into the house and find Amber, who is startled to see them. As they ask Amber for the medication, she stops the party, and the remaining guests quickly leave. Amber fetches the medicine, but as she does, she notices Sydney's car parked outside and immediately grows suspicious. Realizing this is the same house where she and her friends were attacked years ago, Sydney warns Tara to leave immediately. She tells her that the killer is likely setting a trap and that it's too dangerous to stay. Inside, Mandy is watching TV when the killer strikes. Sam hears Mandy's screams and rushes to help, but by the time she arrives, the killer has already fled. Amber, arriving with Tara, accuses Sam of killing Mandy, sowing distrust among the group. Richie and Liv show up, and tensions rise as everyone starts to suspect each other. Amber, growing more paranoid, pulls out a gun and shoots Liv, revealing herself as the killer. She then tries to attack Sam, but Tara intervenes, pushing Amber back. Richie, in a moment of confusion, tells Sam that he suspects Tara is the second killer. Sam, refusing to believe him, threatens Richie with a knife, but he insists that Tara is involved. Sam, determined to protect her sister, leaves Richie in the basement and goes to check on Tara. As the chaos unfolds, Sydney and Jill arrive at the house, unaware of the danger waiting inside. Before they can enter, Amber shoots at them, injuring Jill and forcing her to retreat. Sydney, however, decides to face the situation head-on. She enters the house, determined to end the horror that began 25 years ago. Inside, Sydney starts firing at locked doors, hoping to catch the killer hiding behind them. Meanwhile, Sam finds her sister Tara tied up in a closet. Fear grips her as she wonders if Richie's suspicions might be true. Could Tara really be the second killer? Just as Sam struggles with this possibility, Sydney confronts someone behind a door. It's Richie, badly wounded, claiming that he had been hiding from the killers. But before Sam can process this, the real killer attacks Sydney, and the two fall down the stairs in a fierce struggle. In the heat of the moment, Sam grabs Sydney's gun and confronts the killer. But just as she steadies the weapon, Richie unexpectedly rises from the shadows, revealing himself as the second killer. He and Amber, working together, now have Sam and Sydney at their mercy. They take the two women to the kitchen, intending to finish what they started. Amber goes outside to fetch Jill, and when she returns, they plan to kill the survivors in a twisted recreation of the original movie. Richie explains that their motive is to make the events of this night into a real-life slasher film, a story so gripping that Hollywood would make a movie about it. The pair, both obsessed with cinema, see this as their way to immortalize themselves as the ultimate movie villains. As Amber tries to keep Sydney and Sam contained, Sydney sees an opportunity and tries to grab a knife, but Amber stops her. Amber then turns to Sam, telling her that she trusts her enough to untie Tara. However, as Sam unbinds her sister, Tara seizes the moment and attacks Amber, causing a distraction. While Amber is caught off guard, Tara manages to escape from the kitchen. Amber recovers quickly, and as she goes after Tara, Sydney and Jill make their move, overpowering Amber in a brutal fight. After a long struggle, they manage to subdue her and set her on fire. Meanwhile, Richie, still determined to kill Sam, stalks her through the house. Sam, however, gathers the strength to fight back and stabs Richie, finally ending his reign of terror. As Richie collapses, Sydney and Jill join Sam, ensuring he's dead once and for all. With the killers defeated, the group is left to grapple with the aftermath. The police and paramedics arrive, taking the survivors away. Despite the trauma, Sam is grateful to Sydney and Jill for their help. Sydney reassures her that things will eventually get better, and that Sam can move on from the horrors of the past. Sam, still shaken, thanks them again before leaving with her sister Tara. They decide to move forward, staying together and never separating again, ready to rebuild their lives. The film closes, leaving the audience with a sense of closure as Sam and Tara drive off, free from the nightmare they've endured. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.